Hey, aloha. So I'm in the middle of a few projects. I didn't have anything to upload, and it'll probably be another week or two, maybe longer, before I do. And it's been a while, so I thought what would be kind of fun would be to do a review of some of my personal collection. Some of these pieces are actually up for sale. If you're interested, you can check out my website at koastudio.net. I post anything that's available over there. And then if you like custom work, you can send me a message on Instagram, Koa Studio. So I thought it'd be fun to go through probably not everything, but some of my favorite pieces, the design that went into it, the thought process, what cultures they come from, and why I made it the way that I did. Hopefully you enjoy. If you don't, I'll see you later. Starting up is actually not a weapon. So this is a koi. Some of you might recognize this. So this style of piece, hopefully the camera catches that. This is actually a tool. This style of piece would be used for carving. Smaller, larger pieces they might use for carving out canoes, or larger pieces. You might use a smaller one for finer crafting. This is made out of koa wood, and the handle, it's a beautiful two-tone koa. So two-tone meaning there's two different distinct colors, kind of obvious. And then I have inlay mother of pearl, abalone and mother of pearl on the back end. And then the top here, this is made out of basalt or lava rock, but it's a very, very fine porous lava rock, as in it doesn't have the big bubbles. And so this would be a very common type of stone that would be used for this type of woodworking. And they would dig away at whatever material they were working on. I actually made this for a good friend of mine, but I haven't seen him in a long time, and so I haven't had a chance to give it to him. But definitely one of my favorite pieces. I don't do a lot of stonework, and so it took me ages to shape this piece here so that I could lash it correctly. And then this is held pretty much exclusively with the lash. I did do some minor tests with it. You can kind of see a little bit of the scuff marks, maybe you can't. I did some small tests with it and actually worked pretty well. I was pretty surprised. But this is a pretty cool piece. So this next piece is from Papua New Guinea. It's a style of knife. There's some customizations that I made to it, but the overall design where the wood actually comes up to the point, that follows the traditional piece that I found in image archives. And then it uses, this is bull shark teeth that it has slotted, and each one is individually slotted and then lashed. The part that is a little bit unique to me, as in just had my own art styling, the lashing is a little bit different, and this inlay white mother of pearl on both sides was just a design feature. I did use coal wood for this. All my work is out of coal wood, 99% of it. But I love the design of it. It's a knife from Papua New Guinea. I don't know exactly how they would have used this, if it was used for combat or if it was used just for fun. Not necessarily for fun, but for cooking or just regular work. But when I saw the design, I loved the design, and I wanted to make a similar piece. So definitely one of the, I think, a little bit more odd-shaped, cool-looking pieces that actually has a replica in traditional archives. This next piece is from Hawaii. It's a little bit of an uncommon shape. You don't see Lemonos that have quite this shape. This is from an archive image. So, and I think it's sourced from the Bishop Museum. And I made it, I pretty much designed it to replicate that piece. I don't know the full dimensional size, but I know it's pretty close. The archive image, it does have inlay mother of pearl, just like these, the diamonds on both sides. You can kind of see the sheen on these pegs. These are actually brass pegs, which the traditional piece had as well. And then each shark tooth is individually slotted. Hopefully you can see that. The major difference is the original piece that the archive image of uses great white shark teeth, whereas I have bull shark teeth, mainly because I couldn't get any great white shark teeth. It's very possible that this style of piece was used in combat, but the specific one that's in the archive, I don't think it was. And the reason why I don't think it was is just because of the amount of attention to detail that the original craftsman put into it, the materials that go into it, the great white shark teeth, which are a lot less common in Hawaii, the brass pegging didn't, the material for brass wasn't available until much, much later. It's also not as easy to replace, just because it's not a common material. They would peg teeth into place occasionally, but it would be, local materials. You wouldn't have brass. And so I think it was probably something that was made more as a gift or a ceremonial piece. Not that they couldn't use it, but unlikely. But I love the way it looked, and I do like finding archive pieces and making traditional pieces that reflect them. I think that's just a way that I can kind of keep that alive. But awesome piece. So this is from Fiji. It's a Fijian design. I don't know how to pronounce it. I never learned how to pronounce any Fijian words, and so it's spelled G-U-G-U. If anyone in the comments that's watching this knows how to pronounce that, I would love to know. I don't. But the overall characteristic of it, the design, awesome piece. These style of pieces were definitely used in combat. It just concentrates an enormous amount of force on this edge, and the edge is like an axe edge. It comes to a point, and so you can really put a lot of force into that. Obviously, it has a lot more detailed work. The Fijian weapons did have a lot of detail that would come down the piece. They would actually be significantly more detailed than mine is, but I wanted to utilize, rather than doing detail work per se, I like having the koa, the natural grain of the wood, kind of tell the story of the piece, which is a little bit more, I think, a Hawaiian style way of doing it, but I like how it turned out. This is definitely one of my favorite pieces. I did test with this one a little bit, just whacked at some fruit. Did well. I'd expected it to do well. Haven't hit anything hard with it just because I don't want to damage this edge. But this is one of my favorites. I love the way it looks, and I love the way it feels. It just feels good in the hand. So this is a unique item. I'm sure there are weapons traditionally that utilized sawfish bills. I don't know where off the top of my head. This is not based off of any specific weapon. I was gifted a swordfish, or not a swordfish, a sawfish bill. So this is a sawfish. And I was gifted two, and in exchange I made a piece for the person that gifted it to me, and I made one for myself. It's just a cool looking weapon. I haven't tested this because if it breaks, I can't fix it. I don't have another bill, and I don't think you can easily get them. And I think they were gifted them as well. So they weren't a fisherman. They had received it as a gift from someone else, and then they asked me if I would make a weapon out of one of them. But partially because of its rarity, I love it, and it just looks cool. It reminds me of like a Monster Hunter weapon. Really cool. Wow. So this is a monster of a piece. I don't remember how much it weighs, but it weighs a ton. Holding it out with one arm is almost impossible for me. Massive, massive piece. This is designed after the Mayan and Aztec Macuahuitl. Actually, this is a traditional styled one. I didn't make this one. This is the one of two pieces on this wall that I didn't make. This was made by another artist, made out of purple heartwood. Beautiful piece, gorgeous piece. I love this here. This is kind of my own rendition of one, and it implements like the style of art that I like to do. So my art, I do some pieces that are heavily traditional, and so I try to focus and make them resemble what would have been made back in the day. I also like making things that combine different cultures together, because that's kind of represents me. I have a lot of cultural background from various places, and I've been to a lot of places, and so I like that mix. So that's what this is. So its design is based off of this type of piece. The blades are obsidian blades, massive ones. You can see compared to those. Up top though, I have two megalodon fossils, massive fossils, huge fossils. These are just monsters. I have tested with this piece, not too heavy, but I did test with it, and it's a ton of fun. Absolute blast. And then I have inlay mother of pearl, a nihumano pattern, a row of triangles on both sides. The internal here, this black, that was more just character design. I wanted to add a little bit more life to it. And the reason why though this is cut out here was an attempt to reduce the weight. It just was so heavy. The funny thing is, until I put these in, the weight wasn't that bad. Like, it felt really good. These are pretty heavy though, and that's super heavy. But overall, it felt pretty good. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this piece. Oh man, super heavy, massive piece. This design, oh man, this turned out awesome. So this design is actually from Native American culture. So it's the Gunstock War Club, which normally this would be the front, but it was very common they'd have a spike on the back. I used antler horns, or deer antlers, antler horns, the same thing. I used deer antler as the spikes, which you would find both traded metals and bone for the spikes, and then a little bit of my customization. I put in bull shark teeth that line the edge, and then it has inset abalone pearl. So inset, it kind of sticks out a little bit versus an inlay where it's flush. Obviously made of coal wood. This was another one of those items that I wanted to make that had a combination of different cultures put into them. This piece was a ton of fun to make. I did test with this, and I actually I think I broke one of these and I had to reset it. I can't remember. So I'm definitely not going to be testing with it again, just because I don't want to break it twice. But it was a pretty fun piece to test with. Did pretty much what I expected it to do. I've tested on ballistics gel and a few other things. Wow. So these are designed off of the same style of weapon. These are a nifaoti. It's a Samoan weapon, which is what they use for the Samoan fire knife competitions. Obviously this one is way bigger than this one, but this one has these teeth cut into it. So this one is kind of designed after the metal. So the nifaoti is one of the few Polynesian weapons that had metal introduced into it. And so the wood here kind of mimics what would be like a metal blade. And so it's a lot larger of a piece, just to kind of mimic what would be similar to your fire knife. Beautiful piece. This was made for a custom order, and then the person that ordered it ran away, disappeared, ghosted me. So now it's mine. Ha! This style here is what you would see on a lot of the wood teeth. Now I made my teeth pretty large. On a lot of the archive images, the teeth are a lot thinner, but you would have teeth along the edge of the nifaoti. You can kind of see the overall design is very similar. On this one, I put inlay, mother of pearl. I like to do that when there's large exposed edges. This I did test with as well. This was pretty intense. It did a lot more than I expected. I did put a curve into that just so that it would have a better striking point, and it reduces weight, and so it's actually very light. This is a very light piece compared to the other one. Obviously it's also smaller than the other one, but it feels really good in the hand. This took ages to do, so long to do. It was the first time that I had done this style, And so it just took an enormous amount of work to get these teeth in place, to get them looking good, and try to make the lines all come together. But I do love how this turned out. It's definitely one of my favorite pieces overall. This one will probably never be put up for sale. Sorry. All right. So these are the same style of paho. Paho is a dagger. It's a Hawaiian style dagger. It's a slashing weapon. This would be used on soft targets. So the neck, the arms, the stomach, the sides, and you would pull it across. You can slash with it, but it's a close range weapon. Both of these are made very differently. This one, I kind of wanted to make one that was similar to like a modern layered knife. So like a sanmai knife, like 3-layer knife. And so you can see here, it's hard to tell, but there actually are 3 different layers on this piece. There's a core, which unfortunately I ended up sanding through most of the way, but it has a core center piece. It has a secondary piece here, and then the final piece on the outside. I really love how this one turned out. I have tested with this. It is a nasty little dagger. Ton of fun. The second paho that I have here is definitely made for more of a design. So I was gifted whalebone from another artist. Whalebone is almost impossible to get, just because you can't buy it. And so he gifted it to me. The only constraint is I can never sell it because that's illegal. And so this is a personal piece. And so I have on this side, I have whalebone nihumano pattern, the row of triangles, which a triangle in Hawaii represents a shark tooth. And then offset on the same side is an inlay mother of pearl. And then you flip it over, and on this, so on nihumano pattern in whalebone, nihumano pattern in mother of pearl, and that's white and black mother of pearl. Hopefully you can see that. And then similar on the back, I have the mother of pearl dot, and then the whalebone dot. So this is an awesome piece. I love this piece. It's a beautiful grain of koa. I don't know how well you can see that in this lighting, but absolutely gorgeous curly koa. This is a personal piece that, again, unfortunately for you, will never go for sale on my website. This will stay with my family for, I don't know, until they lose it. Beautiful piece though. I love the way this feels. Nice big knife. Awesome pahoa. Awesome dagger. Now this is another dagger that I just wanted to show briefly. This was more of just a fun collaboration with another artist slash wilderness survivalist. So he made for me this blade out of slate. So he hand shaped the slate, just grinding, which is insane to me. And so the sheath helps protect it, and then it also acts as a way to replace it. So I designed this so that it could be replaceable. And so this peg here can push this peg in the center out. If I can get it out. It's been in there for a long time, so it might not come out. There we go. So that peg comes out, and the whole blade is replaceable, which I thought was cool, especially if this was, you know, a blade that you had out in the wilderness. You can replace it. Now, obviously, if you did replace it, you know, you got to get this shape the same. There's a lot of things there, but the idea behind it is a stable knife made completely out of stone. And I love it actually has some veins. I don't know what that is, the crystallization in the slate, but it's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's go ahead and repeg. Let's put that back in. That's in there pretty tight, so I usually gotta slot that. And then it does have some design work. That's just inlay mother of pearl, or inset, not inlay. And then the point of this is so that that just doesn't come off. So that way it stays pretty solid. So if you were walking around, that would protect the blade. And when you need it, you can take it off. So this is the overall design. The shape is a fairly traditional Lemono. Lemono stands for, it's a lei, like a lei when you go to Hawaii. Mono is shark, so it's a shark's lei. Pretty much any weapon in Hawaii that has a row of shark teeth like this is going to have Lemono in the name. So I don't have any on my wall, but there's like a knuckle duster, Kui Kui Lima Lemono, and it has Lemono in the name. And that's true for most styles. So a Lemono just references those teeth. So you could, almost any design that has those, you could call it a style of Lemono, but this is the most common that you would think of. On this one, I don't know if you can see the design, but I do have a Nihumano pattern in here, but it's just a relief pattern. And then that relief pattern goes around the edging as well. And then the spike down at the bottom. So this style of weapon would be used as a knife, similar to the shark tooth paho, where you would use it for slashing, soft targets, and then the back here would be a finishing. You could also potentially use it for grappling. There's a lot of use on both of those. And when these break, and which they do definitely break, what's crazy is what's left is still jagged, it's still sharp, it still does damage. And at the end of the day, this is still a paddle, like it's still meaty. So this can do just an enormous amount of damage. I've done so much testing with these, and they've proven to be just absolutely brutal. I've actually made quite a few different swords. All of them, every single one of them used a swordfish bill. So that's what this is. The blade is a swordfish bill. Now it's been sanded down and sharpened. The edge also is kind of sharp. You wouldn't really be able to slice with it, but it is kind of sharp. This design though, with the horns, I didn't make that up. That was from another artist that he had made a very similar piece. Not the same, but the design influence definitely came from his work, which I loved. It was beautiful, and so I wanted to make my own version of it. But I had made lots of swords like these that have teeth that partially go up. I've made ones where the teeth go the full length of the blade. Most of those were all custom commissions, so they were for a client, which is why you don't see them on the wall. But this uses boar husks. Those are boar husks. And then you can't really see it. It's difficult because of the lashing, but they're slotted, or you can kind of see it there. So maybe you can see that if I get close enough. You can see how I slotted the husk over. So the blade connects to the handle via a tongue and groove joint, and then this is slotted over top of that and then pegged into place. So you can kind of see the pegs. Here's a better spot. You can see the peg, and then lashed. And so that kind of ties everything together. And on the back side, I have this triangle inlay pattern of black mother of pearl with a beautiful koa handle. Absolutely gorgeous curl on that handle. This piece, I love this. This is possibly my favorite sword. I don't know, I've made a lot of swords. Some of them are pretty awesome. But I love how this one turned out. As to whether or not you could use this in battle, not very well, to be honest. I have tested with these, and almost every single time I end up breaking the bill. For like a thrusting weapon, it would work brilliantly. But they get kind of brittle as they dry out, the bills do. And so any type of slashing, and you're just gonna snap the blade at different locations. And so that you can't really strike like that with it. It's really just a thrusting weapon. And so you probably, I know there's some archive of these being implemented, but usually when they're implemented, there's not as much grandeur to it. The bill itself is the weapon. So they sand down this part here, so it makes like a handle. So it's a very fast dagger, and it's usually smaller too. The dagger is usually a smaller dagger, and so the work you can do with it makes a lot more sense. This style of piece, definitely more artistic. I think it looks awesome. I love the way it looks, and I wanted to make one that looked like this for, man, really long time. So I was really happy to get to work on this. All right. This piece is so cool. So this is not a traditional Hawaiian weapon or Polynesian weapon or Native American weapon. This is based off of the game God of War, which is, the weapon is, I think it's called the Blade of Chaos. He had two of them technically, but making one took a while, so I didn't make two. This was pure, I made this purely for fun. I did put shark teeth along this side of the blade. I didn't end up doing it on this side. I thought it looked kind of cool to have it just on that one section, but it does slice really well. I use this quite a bit, and it cuts beautifully. I used it quite a bit, as in I've tested with it quite a bit, and I designed it to be tested with. I wanted this to be a cutting edge. Other than that, it's really just based off of the game. I love it. It's such a cool piece. So this next weapon is actually two weapons. So originally, it didn't have this spearhead like this with the shark teeth. This body here, this piece right here, which you can actually see how that curves along. That's because it used to be a part of this. So this club used to be the top part of the spear. And this is from a design from the Cook Islands. And so it's kind of like a bladed club. It absolutely was used. I made it out of two parts, so it wasn't one solid piece of koa. I just didn't have one big enough, and so I joined these together, and I didn't do a very good job on the join, and when I was testing it, I snapped it, just broke it, boom. I was a little bit disappointed, and I was kind of bummed. I thought about rejoining them together, but some of the joint broke in an unclean way, and I just didn't like the way that it was going to make it look. So what I decided to do is split it into two different unique pieces. I kept the head the same because I love the way that this looks. It just makes for an awesome looking club, kind of like a bladed club. And you can see that curly koa, and then I burned the edges. Beautiful piece. The body of that I turned into a spear. I do have curly koa down here as well. And on the spear it has bull shark teeth that just flow into the joint. And I love how this thing turned out. This almost turned into a Monster Hunter weapon as well. So this is definitely now a custom piece, a unique piece. Has my own kind of flair to it. But I do love how it feels in the hand. This is just an awesome piece. But I kind of imagine a lot of weapons from a lot of these cultures would probably have that life cycle. Because you go into combat, you might damage or break the weapon, but it might still be useful in a different way. So you wouldn't necessarily just throw it away. You would adjust it. You would get it to work for you how you need it to. And so I definitely didn't want to throw this away. I just wanted to turn it into something new. So this is a Marlin-tipped ihe. So the ihe is a short spear. The ihe or short spear would be usually typically between 4 to 6 feet long. The longer spears, pololo, those would be anywhere between 8 to 14 feet long, something like a pike. So the ihe is a lot shorter. So if I put this here, you can see it's only about, I don't know, 4 foot something, just under 5 feet tall. This has a marlin bill, so kind of like the swordfish bill, but a marlin bill. And then I have, as barbs, tiger shark teeth lashed into the bill. The feathers on this, I mean, they do help with flight, but the primary use for the feathers on this style of piece is any blood that comes down here is going to bead away from the hands with the feathers. And so it helps keep the hand nice and safe. But I do love this piece. This is also not for sale just because the size of this and how straight that marlin bill is kind of unique. You can't really, it's hard to tell, but it's a gorgeous piece. But this is as part of my personal collection. So sorry, not going on the website. So this last piece is, I think, my all-time favorite. This, well, I say my all-time favorite. There's some others that I've made that I really like too. So this is the same style as piece of these, where you have the macuahuitl. So a traditional macuahuitl, definitely not traditional macuahuitl, but mixed with some more of those designs. And then this one is more heavily similar to a Lemono, a Hawaiian style weapon, but made in the design of a macuahuitl. So rather than obsidian as the blades, it's full shark teeth. I have modern bull shark teeth that run along it. And then this in between is megalodon fossils. Now these are smaller fossils. So you can actually see the difference between those fossils and that one. It's completely different. But these are a lot smaller fossils. What's crazy though is the small megalodon fossils are so big compared to these bull shark teeth. And these are big bull shark teeth. They're not small. But this is a gorgeous two-tone koa. So 2 different colors of koa wood. And then I have the nihomano pattern, your triangle pattern, and then offsets between black pearl and white pearl, which maybe you can see there. Hopefully that, maybe I can get that to focus. Yeah. And that's on both sides. And then it lashes down here at the bottom. And then down at the bottom, I have a custom design with just these pegs that go in here. Man, I love the way that this piece looks. The white koa wood, that light koa wood just absolutely looks gorgeous. This feels so good in the hand. Like it just feels clean in the hand. I have tested with this piece as well. I don't remember what I tested it on. Long time ago. I made this a long time ago. But this is, if not my favorite, top 5. My favorite kind of sometimes changes. I'll make something new and be like, oh, this is my new favorite. But I will forever love this piece. It's just, this is a beast of a piece. Beautiful piece. Well, mahalo nui for everyone that watched the video. If you watched the whole thing, you rock. If you watch part of it, that's cool too. If you like it, go ahead and leave me a like and subscribe. If you want to see me make anything else, go ahead and post that in the comments below. I love reading the comments. In fact, some of my ideas and some of the weapons I make come directly from the comments. And so it is fun to get those suggestions. And sometimes someone will suggest a piece that I haven't seen before, a style of weapon that I was unfamiliar with. And so that's always fun too. But mahalo nui, and I'll see you on the next video. Aloha.